Welcome back. I wanted to help you on this time converter one, and I think that something like this is real important because it uses modular arithmetic, modular division, I guess is a better way to put that. So I wanted to do a totally different example, so I'm not giving this one away. Let me go to Dr. Java, and here I've kind of started it here. And what this is going to do, just I'm sure you already have figured it out though, that this is going to ask for a number of pennies. So we're going to do pennies, nickels, dimes, dollar bills, that sort of thing. And it scans in an integer, and then it's going to print out how many dollars there are here. And how this part works here is I'm going to take the number of pennies and divide it by 100. So let's say here I'm going to put in 298, or 95, sorry. What this part does here, this division, 295 divided by 100. 100 goes into 295 two times, goes right over the 5. You put down the 200, and you end up with 95 left over. So not enough for another dollar bill. So I know that I have at least $2 bills. So that's what this part is going to hopefully print out for me. If you look at it, it says, pennies divided by 100. So let's compile this, and let's run it. If I put in 295, it's way down here. I'm on a small computer here, so it's 295, and I'm going to hit return. It says $1 bills is equal to 2. Okay, excellent. Well, I wonder if I could do that with quarters. If I take this and copy it, go down one, paste it, and I want to say like 25 quarters. Let's see, or sorry, 0.25. In other words, quarters. It would be helpful if I could spell things correctly, but so I'm just going to compile and run it for right now and just make sure everything's working right. If I run it, 295. Yeah, so it's going to give me a wrong value for quarters because I have the calculations for dollars here. So how many pennies are in a quarter? Well, 25, right? So I must just take my pennies and divide by 25, and I'll get how many quarters there are. So if I compile that and run it, let's see here, and I get 295 and return. It's like, what the heck? I've got $2 and then 11 quarters. That's not right because there's 4 quarters in a dollar, so something's wrong here. And what the problem is that, so it looks like I am on the right track. I mean, I'm taking the number of pennies and divided by 25, but here's the issue with this, and that is that once I take the 295 and divide by 100, I end up with a 2 up here, sorry. A 2 right there, and I end up with 95 cents left over, so my remainder is 95. So actually what I want to do is do this next part of the problem right here with the 95 cents and not the 295. So how can I get that? Well, this part here, to get the remainder, that's where we use modular division. That's this thing here in Java. So if I were to take the number of pennies and like 295, and mod that with 25, that would give me the remainder of the problem. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to, the first time I'm not going to mod it with 25, am I? I'm going to mod it with 100. What that would do is that would give me this remainder product right here. So let's give that a try and see what happens. In fact, I'm just going to print it out before I even try the next one. So let's go down here, and I'm going to say pennies is equal to itself mod 100. And then let's go down here and just print out pennies. I just want to print out just the pennies left. So I'm going to go down here. Whoops. Darn it. So I'm going to do that. Let's compile this and see what's going on here. And I'm going to click run. So 295. I return. Okay, now we have $2 bills and I have 95 pennies left. So this part worked. This part right up there, that worked. So now what I want to do is I want to take my pennies that I have left, and I want to do this whole process again, but with quarters. So let's change this. We'll change this to quarters. And I'm going to say pennies divided by 25, because I know that this gave me the 95 that I wanted right here. This gives me the 95 that I wanted. And then I'm going to calculate how many quarters there are and print it out here. So we'll compile this and let's run it. Let's come up with a little different number. I'm going to put in $2.76. $2.76. So now it comes up with $2 right here. And for quarters, since I put in 76, you probably can't see that, 76, there's 3 quarters there. There's still a penny left over though, isn't there? Just doing mental math. So we have to deal with nickels and dimes. Well, dimes, nickels, and pennies, I guess. So let's do another one. Paste. And I'm going to do dimes this time. And I'm going to have pennies divided by 10. But remember, I have to, after I figure out how many quarters there are, I have to subtract out that many quarters. So I'm going to use my modular division thing again. So I'm going to come up here, Command P, and V, and then I'm going to do, I want to get rid of all those quarters, so I'm going to mod those out for right now. I'm going to say pennies is equal to itself, modded with 25, and now I'm going to calculate how many dimes there are. So let's compile, and let's run this, and this time let's do 3.98. Okay, so now I have $3, I have 3 quarters, and then now I've got 2 dimes. Of course, there's still some things left over. There's like 8 cents left over, something like that. So I still have to deal with the nickels. Let's do this. And line that all up again. So I did dimes, let's do nickels. And I'm going to mod that with a 5. See how quickly this goes. And after I do nickels, I'm going to do pennies. But pennies is a special case, though. Let me show you why. So here's where I modded out my quarters. Now I need to mod out my, that's my own word, is modding out, so don't quote me on that. Pennies is equal to pennies modded with the number of dimes, so 10, like that. And then down here, I'm just going to skip the next step. I mean, I could compile, but I'm not going to, because I feel like I'm on a roll here. PNIS modded with the number of nickels here. Compile. Whoops. Of course, you gotta end everything. Compile. Okay, got it. So let's run this now. I'm going to say 298. See if that worked. Oops, got some sort of error here. What did I do wrong? You can see I have no nickels. I think, did I put in the right number here? Let's make sure I did that. Yeah, 298. Oops, I forgot. I had a divided by 10 here. That's because I was copying and pasting so fast and feeling pretty good with myself. So what I did is I left a divide by 10 here. I just now erased it. But let's run this again. I'll compile it and run it so that you can see that it actually does work. If I put in 298, return, you can see I get $2, quarters, dimes, and then just 3 pennies, and no nickels in this case because it comes up with like 85 cents or something like that, or 95 cents. So let's run this again just to make sure it works with everything. If I put in like 3, let's see, 75 would be, let's do 77. Now we get 2 pennies, no dimes, no nickels, 75, yep, 75, 76, 77, yep, that seems like it works. So just kind of keep this in mind, maybe even do this program before if you're having trouble with the time converter program. It's basically the same thing, except instead of using pennies, nickels, and dimes, you're using seconds and days and months and things like that. But try to do this one and play around with it a little bit and see if you can't get this to work. and then tackle the day and date one. Here's the answer for this one, so you should be able to work this whole thing out.